The city confirms that these car break-ins, unfortunately, are citywide. Some are happening in publicly owned garages, others are happening in privately owned garages. And we just spotted one right before our live shot. The victim tells us that it was right here where she was trying to deliver these packages here on North Newstead Avenue. The next thing she knows, she's hanging onto the side of the passenger side door, trying to stop this guy from taking off. Let me show you. This is one of several cars that the owner of this car tells me was broken into. As you can see, the driver's side of the window is broken and there's glass everywhere. But you know what the most frustrating part of all of this is? That the customers tell me that they pay so much money monthly to park here, yet they don't feel secure. They've spent their morning and their afternoon trying to get ready, prepare ahead of the storm. Time and time again, you know, this is not something that's new for them. As you can see behind me, that big mound of sand that's supposed to go into about 800 more bags. Sandy Atchison of Overland says she's planning to plaster images of her badly injured nephew all over her neighborhood.
My nephew was standing out in front of a curb. A kid in a Mustang come by there, or a Camaro, hit him, put him under the car, and drug him all the way up to Lackland, 250 feet up the street.
That happened 20 years ago. But Sandy says speeding is still a major problem and hopes these pictures will be a reminder for drivers to slow down.
I've been here 27 years, and I mean, this street is atrocious. It is. It's awful.
Many other residents echo the same concern.
There we go.
Patrick Wilson, who lives on Spencer Avenue, says just today he witnessed a speeding car almost taking out his neighbor.
My neighbor across the street was trying to back in their driveway and someone flew up on them and almost hit them. So it's pretty bad. You know, it's a daily occurrence.
Lisa Barton says she's constantly looking over her shoulder when walking her dog.
You're in danger all the time. They speed, they peel out, they just disrespect, you know, people with little kids and everything.
Carrie Deming's nieces were out trick-or-treating Wednesday night and says she couldn't help but be worried about their safety and someone driving too fast.
People blowing the stop signs, people not looking out for other people. And actually someone ran into our house in my truck a couple years ago.
We reached out to the Overland police chief asking questions, but he never responded. The department, however, recently made a post on its Facebook page encouraging people to call them if they see bad drivers speeding down their streets. After our report Wednesday night on the recent car break-ins happening at some St. Louis City-owned garages, the city says it's taking the matter seriously.
We had roving security for downtown. We now have a dedicated security person for the garage where we saw our most recent break-ins. We are hoping to change the procedures for who's allowed in the garage.
Police say between 4 and 5 a.m. Wednesday, 13 cars were hit with damage to their windows at a city-owned garage on 7th and Pine Streets.
Still a big mess.
Aaron Kleit's car was one of them.
This was a situation that could have been avoided, you know, and it wasn't. And now I'm left paying for it along with multiple other people who live and work here.
Other monthly parkers tell Fox 2 many times the garage door or the lift bars are wide open when they should be closed after a certain hour. The city says it's aware.
We'll be changing the policy for Cardinals games and events to make sure that the gates come down at a more reasonable hour.
Shannon Villa says thieves shattered the driver's side window of his car about 2 weeks ago. Villa pays to park in a privately owned garage on 9th and Olive Streets. He says he filed a police report but hasn't gotten very far with getting answers. We also reached out to the garage owners, but as of late Thursday afternoon, there was no response.
I haven't heard from the detective assigned to my case, so that's where I feel like there's inaction by the police department on keeping downtown safe.
Villa says even though the garage is privately owned, he wants the city to do more with preventing these crimes from happening over and over again.
These are, you know, more than one people, or they're comfortable enough to not just do a smash and grab.
I also asked the city if victims of the car break-ins in city-owned garages will be compensated in any way.
The agreement doesn't provide compensation for them, but we are going to do everything in our power to make sure that their car or anyone else who comes in our garage's car will be safer.
Get out, get out, get out, get out! This demolition video, shot by Alderman Brandon Bosley and posted on his public Facebook page, is raising some eyebrows. And the alderman thinks he knows why.
It just looked unsafe. A brick wall that used to be part of an abandoned home on Ashland Avenue was being torn down Thursday morning. The alderman says it's part of a citywide effort to clean up such eyesores. One person who was wearing a hard hat is seen trying to run away from the falling bricks, and seconds later, 3 people climb on top of the pile of bricks, visibly not wearing any safety gear.
After the bricks fell, they should have put the hard hats on to come out on the actual work site.
The city confirms proper building permits to demolish the wall were obtained. However, they will be investigating a noticeable violation.
Clearly, it appears that there was no water on site, which is a violation. We require that they have a misting fan on site to reduce, the spread of dust.
The city says it doesn't enforce the use of proper safety gear on such sites.
You're getting into the OSHA requirements, certainly doesn't make good sense to me if that's the case.
We reached out to representatives for OSHA both in Chicago and St. Louis. We were told even though they don't handle such cases, they will consider looking into it. We also contacted ZNL Wrecking for an explanation.
Demolition is a very exciting type of line of work to be seen, and we ask that please give us enough room to complete our jobs. We're going to take this as a lesson learned and move forward.